And now, John, we kind of open it up to talking about this week's matchup against Norwich. Fisher had a real easy time beating them last year. How do you think the Cardinals would be able to do just on the face value this week?
I'd probably be lying if I said that I didn't expect, a similar result of the last few years. Pretty handily. They've handled them pretty handily, if you will, and they've just been dominant the last few years, both on the scoreboard and in play.
Yeah, I mean, coming off that week, that loss the previous week to Hartwick, Fisher just pretty much felt like as if they just wanted to make sure that and tell everyone we may have lost to a real surprise team such as Hartwick, but we're not going to let teams like Brockport stop us. And what are the key factors on this football team that will really help drive them when they play Norwich this weekend?
Well, as bad as the loss was and how as tough as it was to lose to Hartwick, it could very well be a blessing in disguise, because not only does it give them incentive to really come back and bounce back from that loss, it also kind of reevaluates their situation this season. I mean, one of the goals was try to get through the regular season undefeated. That didn't happen. But it tells them that they need to take every game seriously and really put the focus and effort and the preparation each week in practice to not overlook teams. And Hartwick is a team just like Norwich, where they've taken games from them pretty easily, put points up on the scoreboard, and they can't look past Hartwick the way that they might have looked past they can't look past Norwich the way they might have looked past Hartwick, especially in that first half of that game 2 weeks ago.
And John, looking at the Fisher football team, we saw a really huge performance by wide receiver Jimmy Smith. Is there any player on the team that you think is or could have a really big game against Norwich this weekend?
Norwich, I got to look at James Reel and Ryan Hansen again. Either of those guys can put up 100 plus yards on you. Even against Hartwick, Reel had over 150 and Hansen had over 100. So that dual attack and their dual running styles in accompaniment with each other is very difficult to stop, even for very good teams. Even in a loss, it was tough to stop for Hartwick. So I'd see that being posing a problem for Norwich. And if they can't stop that, then they got Kramer and Smith and Marion and Jackson through the air. That's tough to deal with, not to mention Chris Harmon.
All right, and with that said, this well-rounded Fisher offense will hopefully going to be staying home this weekend, and we'll be playing Norwich. The game will be at 1 o'clock, and of course, you can hear the game on teamline.cc, and you'll be hearing John and I be doing the game. Our pregame will begin at 12:45, and that'll do it for this first segment of Fisher Sports Desk. We'll be back after these messages.